It's the staff that is recommending not allowing the rate decrease.
Welcome back, Tyler Carlson, CEO, MEC. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. First time on the show.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's very I'm happy to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So a couple months ago, just getting right into the meat of the thing, we're doing a news story here, and it was in the paper, and we did it on TV too, and it was about MEC, which is oh my gosh, now I'm at a complete loss for words. Cooperative.
That's correct.
Okay, and a cooperative being something that is basically owned by the ratepayers.
It's owned by the members. It's a nonprofit entity owned by the members.
Okay, and so there is a point where either fuel costs were down or something, but you saw an opportunity, MEC did, to lower the ratepayers' rates.
Let me try to make sure it's accurate. Is that our major power supplier, which is Arizona Electric Power Cooperative, which we are a member of. MEC is one of 6 cooperatives in the state who are a membership of AEPCO.
Okay.
We have been working very hard over the last couple of years to cut cost as well. That's annual costs. That would be staffing as well as fuel costs. And since that is the major part of our cost to our members, our fuel cost or energy cost, we've been working to cut those costs so we could actually go into for a rate decrease. And that would be AEPCO, go in for rate decrease. What does that mean to Mohave Electric? Means that our wholesale power costs would go down.
Right.
We would then be able to pass on those lower wholesale costs onto our consumers. And since we get about 90% of our wholesale power from AEPCO, AEPCO has put itself in a position to have a 2.77% rate decrease.
Okay.
And that would be about a 2.5% decrease to our membership. We could actually pass on a negative fuel cost adder, meaning we could actually lower the cost on your bill.
So that's a good thing.
You would think it would be, yes.
Yeah. But now it goes, the Corporation Commission, which is an elected body that's supposed to, as you explained to me just prior to coming on, is supposed to find a balance between the power companies and the ratepayers.
That's correct.
Said, nah, we're going to leave them up there. We don't want to see a reduction. Is that right?
Well, that's technically not correct, but you're down the right road.
Okay.
What it actually is that the ACC staff, the staff hired some out-of-state consultants to review our rate case.
Okay.
And the staff, along with the out-of-state consultants, indicated that because there might be in some part in the future a eventual rate increase, that they didn't want to grant us a rate decrease, even though it might be temporary being 1, 2, 3, 5 years. They didn't want a rate decrease. So ACC, the 5 elected members have not ruled. They have not stepped in yet. That's yet to come. But we have had members all over Mohave Electric. The mayor went down to make public comment, as well as Steve Moss. Hilda Angus, they've all made comment about to the commission about, hey, please let this happen. I mean, rarely does a wholesale power supplier like AEPCO lower its rates, and we should celebrate that and embrace that, even if it is temporary.
Now, is Mohave Electric Cooperative the only cooperative that was talking about reducing rates out of the 6?
No, the reduction in AEPCO rates will help all 6 of us.
All 6 of you, okay.
So we're all 6 in the same boat. We just happen to be in Mohave County. So you'll see we're all rural, meaning we're all in the rural areas. But so we're all up in arms about we've worked hard to get ourselves to our power supplier to get a rate decrease. We worked hard on them, and they worked very hard themselves. And here we are with a demonstrated reduction in cost, and we're trying to pass that on to our members, and we're hitting a little bit of a brick wall.
Did you almost fall out of your chair when you first heard this?
It's very difficult to understand. It certainly is, because the way the rate structure goes is you have to come in with a audited test year that demonstrates why that your costs have gone down. You're not allowed to use speculative data. You're not allowed to say, but something else might happen later.
Okay, it's got to be factual.
It's got to be factual. And we had the factual data. And so, yeah, it is a little bit disconcerting. We've actually hired consultants ourselves to rebut the consultants that the ACC staff has had. I've personally offered testimony and testified myself down in Phoenix, as well as Mayor Hakam, as well as Steve Moss. They've all gone down and made their comments, and we are all somewhat incredulous about a cost decrease not being able to be passed on.
Now, how closely does the Commission generally follow the advice of or suggestion of the staff?
They'll generally accept or go along with the staff recommendations. However, when there is a real dispute, there are times that they reject staff's input, and we ourselves have been in a situation like that ourselves during our rate scenario when we were trying to get prepaid metering out there for folks who couldn't afford deposits.
Right.
And we were attempting that prepaid metering, and staff didn't like it, but we still pushed it, and the Commission ruled in our favor. So it doesn't mean that the Commission will rule entirely in the staff's favor, staff's recommendation. So we still have a chance. Hundreds of people have written in to the Arizona Corporation Commission. I'd keep those letters coming because until they actually rule sometime in late October, they're going to read and they're going to listen and they're going to pay attention.
That's just I mean, I think your ratepayers, just like unfortunately over here in Nevada, we don't have the option of a co-op in Clark County, and as much as we try and reduce our use of power, it seems that our bill annually just keeps going up and up and up and up. But we've got a different scenario with NV Energy being able to charge pretty much what they want and make adjustments and plan for the future and charge us now for what may happen in 20 years. May happen is the optimum word.
Sure.
So our power bills just keep going through the roof. I mean, my wife told me what our power bill at home was here in Laughlin the other day, and I said, have we used more power? And she says, no.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. It's what this studio cost me, criminy sakes. So there is a possibility. You need people, though, to go ahead and write in and make sure that they know that everybody is pretty much behind this. And it's to the advantage of the ratepayer.
Absolutely. The members themselves, it's to their advantage to go and find those 5 commissioners. We have those commissioners' names on and their email addresses on our website. Basically, write them and say, look, we even if it's temporary, please, let the Arizona Electric Power Cooperative lower their rates. They believe, the board of Arizona Electric Power Cooperative believes that rates should be reduced. The cooperative believes rates should be reduced. We, as the 6 member cooperatives of AEPCO, we all believe rates should be reduced, but yet we're standing here with a potential rejection of a rate reduction, which is, as you said, it's almost incredulous.
You have been, I don't know if the word would be fortunate, but recently we've had some pretty bad weather, obviously last weekend.
Yes.
And but you guys seem to weather that, excuse the pun, weather it quite well. I mean, there weren't a huge amount of outages, if any, that I even heard of.
Well, there were quite a few outages, but in the past, outages would typically be more widespread. We have made some investments in the system to try to make outages be for less numbers of people. But when lightning hits and when the winds blow and you have rains like we have had, which are washing out washes and that type of thing, you're going to have outages. And we had some, but we typically get them on back fairly quickly. We have a very good, if you look at the amount of hours out every year, our statistics, our records are pretty well. But we're not to say we're done either. We'll constantly be looking at outages to see if we can make them less. Out
of curiosity, what is the history of MEC? I mean, when was it formed and from where did it come?
That's a great question. Actually, and this question came up during my testimony for the ACC, because the administrative law judge probably didn't have a great background in cooperatives, because most of the cooperatives are in the rural areas. We're not in Phoenix and we're not in Tucson.
Right.
What happened was, in typically the history of all cooperatives are this, is that in the rural areas where the investor-owned utilities really couldn't make money serving because of the density, the number of people per mile, number of customers per mile, the areas were not areas that they wanted to go into. The investment wouldn't pay off fast enough. They couldn't make enough money. So a lot of rural areas went without electricity, or they went with a very high cost electricity. And cooperatives were people themselves banding together putting $5 in a membership fee of $5, and basically creating capital to build the system. They're member-owned. So cooperatives are owned by the members. They get together and they vote on a board, and the board oversees the cooperative's operations and management. And we were, Mohave Electric Cooperative was formed in 1946.
Oh my gosh, really?
By the members themselves in this particular area. And what typically the cooperatives got for service territory and service area to serve were more rural areas, less dense areas, and the areas that the investor-owned utilities, the big companies, didn't want to serve.
1946, it was very sparse for residents out there.
Absolutely.
Good grief. Bullhead City was barely on the map.
That's correct. That's
wow.
absolutely correct. So we've been here for quite some time.
I had no idea. I absolutely had no idea. And it seems to be working.
It seems to me to be working, yes. I mean, if you look at it, the power costs in Arizona are historically and still, on average, less than the average of the rest of the United States. So we're still doing well.
Well, I know that, community-wise, you guys are, MEC is really at the forefront with a lot of things, the cool shade. Trying to get people to put up those trees, shade the house a little bit, draw a little more cool to the area. I mean, that is a very good thing. And you've also done several times, I know in the years that I've been here, you've tried to create an awareness on how to save energy. And I think to a certain point, that's still part of what you do.
Absolutely. If you go to our webpage, our MEC webpage, there is a link there specifically about Together We Save. And we believe that the best and the most economical energy is the one that you don't use.
Yeah, that is without a doubt.
That's right.
A bit. Now, is the metering, has that changed drastically with MEC? I mean, you talked about the one particular meter for people, the prepaid, but everything else seems to remain the same. I mean, over here now we've gone with all of the meters that, report automatically, if you will. Are you doing that in Mohave County?
Yeah, we are, but we've deployed a meter that is actually hardwired. It's not wireless, so we don't have some of the wireless questions and the wireless health questions that come out with issues that some of the other entities have come up with. But we have deployed some digital AMI meters, which are remotely readable meters.
Right.
We have deployed quite a bit of that. The consumers themselves, the members themselves, are asking for more information about their use, their daily use, their weekly use. And in order to do that, you can't just go out and read an old electromechanical meter that spins on a dial and be able to give them a daily or weekly use. So people are asking for that data so they themselves can manage their own usage better, which is really paramount. It's key.
What is the one single thing that has become created the most awareness and for people to save money on their electricity?
I think it has been that visibility of looking at your monthly usage and being able to look back on your monthly usage for the last few months or last year, even on a daily basis or weekly basis. The more people are aware of what they use and how much they use, the more that they can change their own lifestyles, such as turning off all your ceiling fans if you're not in the room that they're at, that type of thing. Unplugging the refrigerator in your garage, which is
no, that's not going to happen. I'm so sorry. No.
But those are the types of things they can see, they can do and see, and they can actually see the results of.
Well, now I was led to believe that leaving a ceiling fan on was beneficial because it did help keep the temperatures down in a room. Now you're saying when you're not there, they should be off?
Yes, actually.
Really?
Actually, a ceiling fan it's a motor, and it actually creates heat, so it'll actually heat up a room. But the movement of the air makes you feel cooler.
Right.
So the only time you should actually have that fan moving is when you're in the room to feel that moving air. If not, you're just wasting electricity and actually kind of heating up the room.
Well, my cats never told me that. We're going to take a look, speaking of weather. No, we weren't speaking, but we're going to talk about a little bit of weather. We need to take a look at our 5-day weather forecast. That being brought to you by the Avi Resort and Casino. And I must tell you that on this next weekend, on the 1st, there's going to be a fireworks display. It's going to be on Sunday at dusk at the Avi. As usual, it will be a big one, and it'll be a fun one. Here's the weather.
All right, the expected highs are 98 in Las Vegas under stormy weather. Flagstaff is going to see its 70th, again stormy weather. Phoenix is partly cloudy with a high of 106, 79 in San Diego, 85 in LA, both under partly cloudy skies, and here in Laughlin, Bullhead City, 104 under partly cloudy skies. On to the 5-day. It's going to be stormy throughout the first part of the weekend and start to clear up a little bit, it looks like. 104 is the high today, 93 on Thursday, Friday's 95, Saturday 97, and Sunday 100. Lows ranging from 82 down to 72 degrees throughout the rest of the weekend. So it seems like it's going to be a little bit stormy to start out, and then perfect weather right by Labor Day.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete, and thank you, Avi, for hosting this morning's 5-day weather outlook. Are we taking a break, or are we still here?
Back to you.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Deregulation. What's going on?
Well, deregulation is something that we probably are somewhat familiar with, being next to California. California started a deregulation effort back in the late 90s, and because it failed so miserably, they put it on hold in early 2001. Arizona had also looked at deregulation back then, and because of the failure of what was happening in California, and if you remember California, there was big entities that were manipulating the market, Enron being one of those.
I vaguely remember something about that, yeah.
So deregulation has come back, and it's come back to in front of the Arizona Corporation Commission. And they're looking at it to decide if they should actually move forward. It's not a decision of whether or not to deploy or implement it, but it's actually, should they actually open up a docket to look at the rules and regulations that would go along with deregulation. And deregulation itself has been an experiment. 12 different states have deployed it. And there are 5 states that deployed it and then rescinded it because of problems. There are examples. Texas themselves, over 10 years, there's an independent entity that has indicated, that did a report, Texas, that indicated that consumers spent over $11 billion over 10 years of excess power costs.
Holy crap! Because of deregulation.
Because of deregulation, consumer complaints went up 700%. Under deregulation. You've got entities like Maryland themselves, their power cost to residential users went up 60%. Illinois and Pennsylvania went up 53%. If you look at the 16 highest residential users rates, 13 of those are in deregulated or partially deregulated states.
Holy crap!
So it's a real question, and it's something that we are asking our folks to go on our website. We have a link to deregulation. It'll provide you information. It'll provide you information such as
there we go again, right there.
There it is. There it is. And there's a link right to the right on deregulation, and we give you information, and it's not our information. We didn't manipulate a bunch of information. We're showing you things like AARP's comments, AARP's objections, RUCO, which is a watchdog agency for residential utility consumers. They have grave concerns and questions. American Public Power Association, which is a national organization, did a report that finalized or revised it in April of 2013, showing that deregulated states and regulated states, deregulated states have about a 3-cent higher residential utility rate than traditional regulated states. So the question really is that something that is good for Arizona? Arizona is, like I told you before, has got one of the lower average residential rates in the region, not as well as the country. Is this a great opportunity and a great story? And the people that get hurt, and always the people that get hurt in deregulated environments, are residential, small commercial, and small industrial. Doesn't that sound like that's this whole area?
Yeah, it will pretty much
it pretty much is. We don't have huge industry that employs 5,000 or 10,000 people that are the object. They're the folks that deregulated entities are trying to go after. Mm-hmm. And it's all out-of-state power companies, out-of-state independent power companies that want access to some of the larger businesses. But the folks that really get hurt are the elderly, fixed income, the poor, residential, small commercial, small industrial.
The people who can't afford to take any more hits.
Absolutely. And the people that represent, that's basically what I just described is the majority of Bullhead City, Laughlin, in this area.
Yeah, I guess the more I hear, the more confused I get. I mean, why would anybody want to? I mean, obviously there's money on the backside. You just follow the money, but this obviously would affect the company that the cooperatives get their power from.
Well, it would affect every utility, and it
As it trickles down.
As it trickles down, it would affect every utility. But the demonstration, there are no demonstrations of something that works in all of the other states.
What are they thinking?
Well, I think that what they're doing is they've opened up a docket to explore it. So it's our jobs, and we have a petition for you to get on and sign, and over 430 people have already signed petitions to said no, don't do this, and don't look at this, and let's not open this up in the state. We've got organizations such as BREDA, Lisa McCabe, they've anti-din. Mayor Hakam is anti-din, as well as the Bullhead Chamber of Commerce of all anti-din opposing deregulation. It's it's one of those that if it's not broken, why are you trying to fix it? And it's outside state interests who are looking at trying to come in and make money.
That pretty much answers it right there.
It pretty much does. And most of the issues that I talked about in Texas, and this will resonate probably with a lot of our members. What they end up with is door-to-door salesmen for electricity. They end up with telemarketers for electricity, bait and switch issues. Those are some of the biggest issues of consumer complaints, as well as low-cost leaders. I come in and say for the first 6 months it'll be less, and but you signed a long-term contract, and your out provisions are very costly, and that's what people get hung up on, and the consumers get hammered. In New York itself, 84% of the people who switched from their traditional power supplier, their costs went up. And they went up higher than if they wouldn't have switched.
Good grief.
And in deregulated states, the rate of increase is even higher than in traditional regulated. So if you just looked at the rate of increase on a year-by-year basis, it's higher in deregulated states.
So, and with this, I would assume if in fact this is ever put in place, it's impossible to get the horse back in the barn, or nearly impossible to get it back in the barn. You're never going to recover.
Bruce, that's it. You've hit it. You've hit the crux of the issue, which is what people are most afraid of, is once the horse has left the barn, all you're doing is damage control. You're not actually able to control it. You're trying to minimize the impact, but there will be an impact. So that's what people are afraid of, and that's why people are mobilizing. There's a large coalition in Arizona that's mobilized. Like I just said, I mean, if you look on our site, you'll find comments from RUCO and comments from ARP. There's a listing of videos coming from other states that are videos of kind of the watchdog agencies that look at this type of stuff, and these watchdog agencies have videos on there from other states. Go and click on them and take a look at them. They're actual information from Texas and from other states explaining how deregulation isn't working and the pain in which people are going through.
And our viewers can see right now some of what you can find online on the MEC website, and it's just it's amazing. I'm waiting for the good news. I'm waiting for the good news.
Well, the good news is that it's still open, and the good news is we all have until probably September 15th to get our comments in to basically tell the commission not to move forward. And there is on the very bottom of our deregulation page, there's a take action link that you can actually fill out a petition. And once people get the data, and the data is all there, the deregulation facts, the American Public Power Report on deregulated markets, it's all on our website. Once people read it, doesn't take them very long to fill out their petition.
This is just these things are just absolutely amazing. That you can't go through life anymore and just try and make a living and go down the road and believe that everything on either side is going to be fine, because it's not. They keep coming at you from different sides. This is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It is wild, and when one looks at it from the standpoint of, we looked at this once before, when California was deregulating. California then had to stop because it was so painful. They had 200 to 400% swings in their rates to their members, and their rates have gone up, and they've not gone back down since that early effort. Arizona saw what was happening, stopped those deregulation efforts. Nothing has been demonstrated to show it really does work for the residential consumer. I don't know why we're looking at it, except for there are outside interests that are interested in trying to make money outside of the state, making money in the state.
If I remember correctly, that's when Nevada, NV Energy, got caught buying power for just an excessive price because of the manipulation. They bought a huge amount of power at a ridiculously high price, and then that all came back on the ratepayers.
That's probably right, and I don't recall that, but you're probably absolutely right. There were issues. The same issues went on in California.
Yeah.
Not just the issues of high costs, but if you look at it, they've had blackouts, scheduled blackouts.
Oh, yeah.
Not because lightning hit something, but it's scheduled. The whole blocks were put out. They've had blackouts. They've had power supply issues ever since they've deployed this deregulation. It's just something that. Just educate yourself. We've got data on our website, and once you read it, I'm not sure that how you would not then go to the take action and sign the petition.
So 13 years ago, this all came down with California. They're still suffering consequences from it.
They sure are.
Holy crap!
Sure. They still have some of the highest rates in the country, residential rates in the country.
When people are taking a look at their electric bill, and they have ways of finding out what their usage was prior to, and they have to look at what they can do to help reduce their own electric bill. And you talked about shutting off the refrigerator in the garage, which is just not going to happen. But the other areas that they can, you have people there that can answer questions too at MEC.
We certainly do. Not only is the website interactive, so you can Together We Save, you can actually enter in, if I changed out my air conditioner, what would happen and what would I save, and is it worth the money to do so? If I had to buy a new refrigerator and I put something in that's more energy efficient, what that would do. But if you still have questions and issues, we have folks, Peggy Gilman and Steve Bowman, you can contact our folks, because we'll go out to your site, we'll go out to where you're at, and we'll try to see where we can help you, where we can point out and if there's something obvious that we can help with. This happens to me all the time where I live. Somebody will say my bill is high, and they'll take me to their house, and I'll wander around with them, and inevitably we'll find something that
Sure.
can help them.
Sure. And there are so many facets of making your home more energy efficient. How do you feel about this? And I know this is way off the wall. Sorry, but this incandescent light bulb as opposed to the fluorescent bulbs. Should we have made that jump? Should we have gone to these fluorescent bulbs and done away with the incandescents? I mean, is there going to be that much of a savings?
Well, there is a huge savings. There is an incredible savings, but one still has to. I don't know that we've taken the full view of it to find out, such as how do you dispose of those incandescent lights, because some of those might be hazardous materials inside
Sure.
of those. So. But the LED lights, I'm a big proponent of the LED lights. They are expensive, but they will come down in price, and they're a big saver. You know, lighting is one of your largest costs and largest. And if you can save on that, that's great. Air conditioning obviously is one. Insulation is a big thing. Sealing cracks and that type of thing. Air infiltration, that type of thing. But there are a whole bunch of things that one can do. Setback thermostats. Depending upon your lifestyle, and that's something that Together We Save, that website, interactive website, will help with, or you can contact us and we'll try to help you, because we would just as soon you save also. We're members too. As a member myself, I try to strive for the lowest bill in my complex. So.
And it helps everyone.
It helps everybody.
Thanks so much for being here, Tyler.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Tyler Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, MEC, and you've been watching as we've been chatting up here. You can get to him online, and there's several issues that if you are, in fact, an MEC member, you need to address those issues today. You need to get it done if you expect to have any kind of a savings or any hope in the future, because there's obviously those that are trying to take that wonderful savings and all the good things away from you. We do thank you for joining us today. Sam, thank you. Pete, thank you.
No problem.
And
problem.
to each one of you, I appreciate you being here. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Until that time, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh,